I'm Ryan Noakes, one of the co-founders of Teach Beacon, the all-in-one virtual training platform. Joined with me here is my fellow co-founder.
I'm Curtis Sear.
And we are going to take you through the problem that we have faced and that probably you are facing as well. As you know, the entire world has gone virtual because of COVID-19. So this has been a trend that has been in motion already. More and more people are working from home. More and more people are collaborating virtually. More and more people communicate via chat and video like Zoom or Slack or Microsoft Teams or all of these other platforms. We share and collaborate in the cloud like Dropbox, Box, SharePoint, all of these sorts of things. However, we are now 100% virtual, and that is crazy, and especially in the training industry where we're used to getting a group of people together for a brief period of time, say a few days in a room, and just pounded through material. Suddenly that's become much more difficult. It's difficult to travel and get a trainer on site and get everybody together in a room and maintain social distance and all this. It's difficult to collaborate and make sure that people have the curriculum and that everything is recorded and documented and we can track the progress. This is a challenge that we have experienced because we also own a company that does training. And so for several years, we have sent trainers out to large enterprise companies around the United States to perform training on data and analytics skills. And like many of you, we've had the same kinds of challenges. How do we continue to help our workforce upskill and improve and gain competitive advantages while being all remote? And this trend, even as COVID dissipates, this is going to be something where more people are working remotely and asynchronous schedules. Of course, workforces are spread around the country or even around the globe. And so how do we solve this problem of delivering training in a way that's smooth and cohesive? And there's really not a great solution out there. So what we have set out to do with Teach Beacon is to make virtual training 100% more efficient. I know that's a bold claim, but we're going to show you how it's possible. And 15% more profitable, also a bold claim, but we're going to show you how it's possible in under 30 days without the headache of using multiple tools to get it done. So if you're like us and have felt this pain and have wondered if there's a better way to deliver training than having to cobble together a ton of different tools like Slack and Dropbox and an LMS and Zoom and whatever else, all of these kinds of things that are needed to deliver a virtual training. If you feel like there's a better way to do this, then there should be a better way. We found it was hard to find something, so we built it. We built it ourselves, and to eliminate the complexities inherent in the process. So we've mapped every step out into a workflow that is required for a typical training process. And Curtis will take you through that and how each of the individual tools play a part and how we've eliminated those.
Right, and this is a little bit small, so I'm going to bring over a blown up version here for us to look at. So like Ryan said, we've been in the training space for a while, and we understand what needs to go into a training to make it worthwhile and to make it beneficial for clients and for students and for teachers and for the organization that's running the training. So we sat down and we started to think through all the things that you need to do to get a training done, and how can we do all this with virtual training with all these tools, and bring it together cohesively so it's not so disjointed and difficult to get done. How do we make it more efficient? So I think this is important to understand. Kind of shows you how we are thinking about this process. So we broke it into three areas. You have your pre-class activities that you do before a class runs. You have your activities you run during a class to actually deliver it. And then you have your post-class activities. Okay, and so if you look here at this pre-class activities, you have things like selecting which video platform is going to work. This is a challenge because if you're delivering to big companies, some like WebEx or some like Zoom or some like this or some like that, and you have to cater to whatever their tool of choice is. because some have security concerns or whatever it might be, like Zoom, for example. There's the class scheduling piece, and there's the teacher onboarding and teacher coordination piece. There's the sending of course requirements and documents piece. There's the syncing of all the student calendars and who's doing what, when are the deadlines, when are the classes, in a way that they can understand. You have distribution of all the class materials. You have administration of pre-class work. So maybe you want to do a survey, or maybe you want to do a little quiz to see, are the students ready for this course? Or maybe I need to adjust some of the things that I'm doing in this course to meet the needs of the students. All of that needs to be done before the class even starts. And even before that, there's maybe you want to run a promotional webinar, or you got to meet with the client beforehand and set up and actually sell the course. All of that happens before the course even runs. Okay, and then when we get through all of that, finally the course can run. And when the course runs, there's lots of different streams that you may be doing at any given time. Right here is the one that you may be the most familiar with, which is delivering live sessions. This would be like what a Zoom tool would do or something like this. And where you're actually speaking to people live and teaching them things. You're going to want things in that session like breakout rooms, whiteboarding, chat, polls, all these kinds of things that are conducive to the training experience. You'll want to split up that video maybe if the class is too large and you want several classes. You'll want reminders in there to say, hey, like send this to the students and tell them when the next session is happening. If people aren't attending, you want to be able to email them and remind them that the course is happening. Maybe you have several classes in a row, and if someone doesn't attend a certain number, you want to make sure they don't receive the more advanced content. So all of those things get really, really tricky when you're doing this with a lot of tools. So that's sort of the live stream. You also have the stream, which is more on demand. So this is what a typical LMS would do, where you say, okay, maybe we do a live session one day, and the next day we want students to watch a pre-recorded video. We want them to take some quizzes and tests or upload assignments. All of this can be done without a teacher. But again, that's another piece of virtual training that's usually disjointed. Okay, and then you have another piece with the one-on-one coaching. Maybe certain students need additional help, or maybe they need one-on-one assistance with some problems that they can't figure out, or maybe you want to be able to upsell the ability to give one-on-one support. That's another whole tool set. And then you have collaboration. A lot of people we've talked to are trying to use Slack, for example, to get everyone together and collaborate with messages back and forth and files and this kind of thing, but then they also have Zoom and they also have this and that. So that becomes a challenge, but you want to be able to collaborate as well. And then the reporting is a total mess, because all the data now is in 7 different systems. And how do you report on who attended what class and what their grades were and all these kinds of things? That becomes very difficult. So part of this process then is bringing all of that together so that you can then report on it and deliver a good experience. And then you're not done. After that, then comes the end of the course, but then you want your end of course evaluations to make sure the students were happy with the course or get feedback. You need course certificates and deliver those. You need to, again, deliver reporting on the entire experience at the end, so we know it was good and how everybody did. A good idea is to have some long-term follow-up. We know people forget things quickly, and so without a 3-month follow-up or a 6-month follow-up or maybe a little micro follow-ups along the way, a lot of that education that they received is going to be lost. And so that's another important piece, which again usually involves a separate tool. And then comes the thing that's important to your business, which is selling more courses. Maybe there's some cross sells or some upsells we could do with those students. That's usually a disjointed process, and that brings us all the way back up to the top, where you have to repeat the whole thing over again. So we have some slides here that just kind of briefly show all these hidden complexities, which we just talked about, right? So you have a tool that does your webinars, and you have email and staff that you probably pay to do a lot of this pre-class work. And then you have Zoom to do that. And then an LMS does the on-demand stuff. And then you have coaching software to do the one-on-one coaching. And then you have Slack to do the collaboration. You pay an analyst or someone on your team to cobble the reports together. You have specialized software that maybe does some of the follow-ups and micro engagements after the course. Evals are usually administered over Google Forms or done manually by paper. And then you have a salesperson usually, or yourself, that has to figure out what to sell next and set up those meetings and do all of that. And so by the time you get all those tools together, you're paying for a lot of subscriptions, data's all over the place, and it's usually really, really hard to keep everything square and get it all done. Or it's so hard that you're not doing all of the pieces in this flow, which means either the students aren't getting the best experience that they can for learning, the teacher doesn't have the tools and the experience that they need to get this done, and then the administrators and the organizations who are buying also have a subpar experience. So to get all of this done with a lot of tools is very, very difficult. So what we want to do, what we thought is, well, what we need is the ability to integrate all of these activities together so that we have something that's cohesive and that's easy and that's frictionless. So the question then is, how long does all of this take, right? Because we want to have some sense of, if we do integrate all of this, how much time are we actually saving, or how many additional sales can we actually make if we can integrate all these pieces together? And so that's the question we asked ourselves next, and Ryan is going to take you through some of that.
Good. So you'll see here at a high level, we have laid out some of these kinds of tasks that you saw in the flow chart, and then we've assigned time. Now I realize this is small. I'm going to take you into a more granular view here. It's easier to read momentarily, but you can see that there's a lot of actions, just like there's a lot of steps in that flow chart. Each one of those has an amount of time associated to them, and many of them carry a cost, a licensing cost, staff cost, you know, these kinds of things. So there's a lot here that goes into this, and the question is how much is this costing you? And is there an opportunity to both speed things up and improve your efficiency as well as improve your profitability, like we've mentioned? So let me share my screen, and I will show you this spreadsheet here. So you'll see here in this spreadsheet, this is where we've taken all of the steps in the flowchart and we've mapped time. We tried to give them a range. We understand different companies spend different amounts of time on different tasks. They may have systems or processes in place that vary, the size, the number of classes they run. So you think about this in terms of the numbers that it might be for your organization. But based on our experience doing this ourselves, as well as clients that we work with, this is you know, some ranges that we've seen. So struggling with which video platform to use. Is it Zoom? Is it Join Me? Is it WebEx? Is it GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar? Is it RingCentral? On and on and on. Okay, which ones do we use? What are the differences, the pros and cons, costs? Which ones are the clients using? Does everybody have this downloaded? Are they good to go? That can take you anywhere from 0 to 6 hours. With a completely browser-based software platform, then there's no downloads required. And if all of that is integrated within the process, then you're looking at 0 to 2 hours. And more likely on your low end, like no time at all to log into the browser, and there you go. Okay, what about teacher onboarding? This is always a process to ensure that whoever is teaching is familiar with the material, familiar with the interface, they can give a good class. You know, and doing that, you have to have a process in place to ensure consistency every time. Because there's so many tools and there's so many different trainers, there might be different subjects or curriculum that you're teaching on. That onboarding process can be ad hoc or can have variable results. So time frame there, anyone from 1 to 4 hours, like every time this is done. Whereas if everything the teacher needs lives in one platform, which is like curriculum, training videos on how to use the platform. Maybe you've got training videos on how to give a good class or deal with, you know, weird questions or deal with, you know, people who are too fast or too slow or all these kinds of things. What if the course content, the polls, the quizzes, the evaluations, all of that stuff is within one platform? So we shaved time off dramatically of having to train them where all of that stuff is and how to administer it because it's all right there. Okay, what about syncing calendars, setting up dates with the instructor and the students, getting everybody together at the same time? That's a lot of back and forth email, checking everyone's calendar. Oh, somebody had an emergency come up, or well, they got to back out, or well, can we find someone else to fill the class, right? So half an hour to 3 hours there. Okay, now what if we can sync automatically? The platform controls it, syncs to your calendar. and sets it up, right? So now we've got much faster, much faster times there. So, more hours saved. Okay, curriculum management and distribution. This is another manual process. Getting the curriculum, sending it out, or making sure they know where to log in and where to get it. If it's all loaded into the class and it's available right there, you log into your platform. There's the class. Here's the curriculum right there on the right. It's not like you have to download it and save it, store it, find it, do all this communication. So again, we've shaved off time. Okay, what about administering pre-class work over email? So that could be like, hey, here's the prereqs. You need to work through this before a class. Okay, so how much time is spent doing that? Or making sure that everyone is aware of what they need beforehand, 1 to 4 hours. Okay, if it's automatically sent out by the system, these are like automated communications. And then the actions and interactions are logged by the platform so that you can see who's seen it, what they've opened, what they've done, are they prepared? Is that all squared away? Okay, the dramatic savings there on time. Okay, what about, you've got a new course and you got to let everybody know about it. Hey, who's interested? We've got this new course on this, or this is what the topics that we'll be covering. So you got to set up a webinar to explain that. And oftentimes that webinar is not hooked to the course itself. So people take it, but then they've got to go to a different platform to register for the class and say, yes, I'm interested, this is what I want to do. Right, so you might be using like Zoom or GoToWebinar, and then you might be using Eventbrite or some other, a Google form or something like this to record who's interested. Or maybe it's a manual email process. People are just shooting you a note saying, yeah, hey, I'd like to join that class. Okay, again, what if all of that is synced within one platform? Could you run the webinar and have signups and know who enrolled and all those kinds of analytics about that whole process all built in? So we've now taken like several hours down to no time at all. Okay, now then once we're actually like running the class, when the class is live, okay, so there's several steps there that Curtis took us through in the flow chart. So think about this, right? Make sure everyone is live in the class it's supposed to be. Some people don't show up, some people show up late, someone changes at the last minute, somebody else hops into the class. You had 12 people sign up, but only 10 show, and one of those was never on the roster to begin with. Like these kinds of things happen, and so then that start of class experience can be a little bit like, well, who showed up? And and then we need a roster at the end of class to figure out who actually was there, so the right people get credit and for billing purposes and all of this. Okay, well, now within the platform, you can see a class roster automatically because it's tied to their login. So you automatically know who's there and who's not. And we can automatically create reminders that get auto-generated and sent out to the people who didn't come. Okay, what about administering quizzes, tests, assessments, polls, all that? A lot of times that lives in a learning management system or is delivered via some other system. So that could be anywhere from very little time to a lot of time, kind of depending on how many classes, how many students, how much involvement you're doing. If they've got to do a test to show mastery of the material, well, who's grading that test and how's that being submitted? Is that done manually? Now it's all done in the same platform. So again, like we went from time spent collecting, grading, assessing, communicating follow-ups, no time at all. Okay, how about collaboration? Right, Curtis mentioned this, that a lot of times we're talking in Zoom, but we might be running a group forum or team chat in Slack so that it can live beyond the session, and that people can communicate questions. Maybe it's like, well, hey, where do we have this internally in our SharePoint or repository? Okay, well, that's like somewhere else, right, for people to be in. It's like, well, I can't find the Slack channel, and how do I get there? I've got to log out of my Teams window to go back into my chat. That's clunky. Okay, it's all here. It's all integrated. So again, 0 to 5 hours to no time at all. How about this, right? What if we want to deliver additional materials for learning outside the lesson? So oftentimes in a class, you might get a question. It's like, that is a great question. We can't cover that right now, but we want you to work through this in preparation for our class tomorrow. And I'm going to send you a blog post or an article or a practice exercise or something to work on before we begin tomorrow, begin the next course. Okay, so that That's time, that's email, that's back and forth, that's Slack chats, that's links, that's, you know, finding stuff in SharePoint. It's all there, right? So we go to no time at all because it's all in one platform. Okay, what if you want one-on-one coaching? You've got to coordinate that. Who needs help? Who wants like additional one-on-one time? When will the student and the instructor be online to provide that? Will that occur before or after class, or will that be like at some other time entirely? Okay, again, all that can be scheduled within. So at maximum, we're looking at an hour there. But again, we've shaved down time. Okay, what about if they need to complete coursework? You know, like let's say you've signed up for an intermediate or advanced class, but you've got to fill seats. So, you know, you end up with 10 participants and 4 of them actually are not at an intermediate or advanced level. What do you do then? Do you slow the pace of the whole class down for everybody? Do you try to catch them up? Do you now have some people who are more advanced and they're a little frustrated by the pace, right? So offering some pre-coursework to say, okay, are you ready for this class? Can you handle this? Is a good thing. Well, depending on how many students aren't ready and the complexity of the material and how much follow-up is required and all this, that could be a lot of hours of work, follow-up, meeting with people, sitting down, trying to bring them up to speed. Again, we shave off a lot of time by having it all in one place. And it goes on and on. I mean, you can see these numbers all the way down. Administering course evals, it's all within the platform. How about gathering data and reporting back either, you know, to internal stakeholders, to a client, to whomever on student performance. So how engaged were they? How well did they learn the material? How well are they demonstrating mastery? Did they enjoy the class? Was it a good learning environment? These kinds of things, that takes a lot of work. That might be surveys. That might be looking at test results. Now you've got to put it into a report with some charts and graphs and drop it into a PowerPoint. It's a lot of work, right? Okay, now like the system does all of that for you because all the data is there. It's recorded by the platform. It can spit out the analytics into a nicely formatted report. You can give it to the client. You can give it to internal stakeholders. Everybody is happy. You know, they feel like, okay, we got value out of this investment. Okay. Now, what about if we have to schedule multiple Zoom sessions? What if you've got more than, you know, 100 people or in a class, right? Well, now you're running into limits. So now we need to break this into multiple classes with multiple instructors, okay? And so then that's a challenge, right? And now that's more cost, have more instructors, more time, more coordination of all of the steps above. When you're doing this on multiple fronts, there's no limits in our platform because we've run into this. So we eliminated limits, okay? And then also just ensuring that people come prepared and they've accomplished the right prereqs and everything. So now everything is integrated and you can choose who has which permissions as an admin. Can they access the course or not? Are they ready or not? So it's all there. We just shave off the time. And then Curtis mentioned the post-class wrap up, the follow-up activities, where we want to ensure that students really retain the knowledge. Well, how do we do that? That's a process unto itself. And that could be emails, that could be follow-ups, that could be a group discussion, surveys, assessments, like a lot of things could happen in this process. All that now is done directly within the platform. You can send out scheduled nudges, maybe in 2 weeks. Hey, everyone, just following up. You know, have you had a chance to implement what you've learned? Have you seen any gains in the software? Have you tried? We encourage you to you know, implement what you've learned. And, you know, we'd love to hear some stories, right? You can collaborate on that, share the successes. All right, when that's all built into one platform, everybody can see that. It drives engagement. Okay, now how about like upsell, cross-sell? And again, this could be internal or it could be to a client. But either way, right, we're all selling, right? I mean, you know, we're all selling something sometimes. And so if training is what we are sharing with people, then, you know, we want them to take more training to improve their skills. Maybe that's, you know, they took the intro course and they should follow up with an intermediate or advanced course. Or maybe there's a complementary skill. They learned this and now they should learn that. So, you know, there's a lot of approaches here in terms of how do we decide who gets training on what. Well, if we leave that up to our salesperson and there's a lot of activities, something might fall through the cracks. But if you have a system that uses machine learning to recommend what would be the next step for any given student, well, that's really valuable. Now, you as a course deliverer knows what people need and who should be in which classes. You know what classes need to be scheduled and when. Gives a salesperson, if you're actually selling courses, something to talk about that's valuable. It's based on data. Okay, so again, we've shaved time, several hours of time, combing through, trying to figure out when was the last training, what did they need, how many students might need to move forward, how many did well, how many were engaged. That's all there, and we've cut down half the time on that. Okay, now how about, okay, who attended, who didn't, right? We've got that, better analytics. Who's taking the on-demand course content and you know, how do they do for their continuing education credits or other kind of reporting purposes, right? A lot of time spent collating and running that down, printing out certificates and getting that to people. Now it's all there, it's all on the platform. So we just shave off time all the way down. So the total savings, if we were to look through everything here, could be a lot of hours, right? So if you were running 100 classes a month, let's say, and you might run more, you might run less. If we look at all of the time, it's, you know, an hour here, an hour there, an hour this, but there's so many steps involved in the process by so many people. If you're running this many classes, you could be saving a huge amount of time. And even if our numbers are wrong, right? Even if they're wrong by a factor of 10, you're still saving a substantial amount of time, right? And you can download these and you can play with the numbers yourself, and you can see how it affects the totals. So if you're running reporting, if that can help you improve your sales, you have to run promotional webinars, all these kinds of things. You can kind of see how many hours it saves. You can put in what is the average hourly rate of staff working on this, and then you can see the amount of money that's saved by using an all-in-one platform. So those are some of our thoughts in terms of the steps involved and how much time could be saved by automating everything in one platform that's got the logic built in to like help you automate as much as you can. So again, we've done this. We've run these processes manually or through a lot of systems, and we have seen dramatic reductions by us running it all through one platform. So Curtis, I'll turn it back to you.
We also see, in addition to the time and efficiency savings, and obviously that equates to money, but there's also sales gains that can be achieved here because of the fact that now that you're using an integrated system, Ryan touched on this, now you have the ability to kind of see, well, what course should come next? And what should we be suggesting next? And let's do a webinar where the platform has both the webinar and the upsell that people want to take, right? So we took some time as well to look through and think through what the old sales process looks like when you're trying to use a ton of different tools versus what does a sales process look like when everything is integrated, right? And what are the differences there, and what do we think the gains are that you can see? And so this is also in the pricing calculator that Ryan showed you, which is free to download on the site. You can download that, play with the assumptions, put in your own company's metrics and see what the lift might be for you, depending on kind of how you operate. But in general, what we see here is a couple stages where we might see some gains. Again, in the preparation stage where, number one here, you're meeting on the training platform to sell the training that's going to be on that platform. So instead of meeting on whatever platform or over the phone or on Teams or something and explaining the training, or you just meet on the platform that you're going to deliver the training on. So the client not only sees what the training is, they can see what it looks like, they can see the quizzes, they can see the materials, they can see all the features of the platform, they can see all the reporting that they're going to get. Everything is right there. And all of that adds up to not only are they buying a course, but they're buying everything surrounding that course that helps it be a success. That's pretty powerful. Okay, and then all the course materials, they're already there. They're already visible. You don't have to say, well, we'll send those in an email or we'll gather those. It's all there. It's all managed. It's right there on the call, ready to go. Student preparation and making sure that they're ready for the course, that's all tracked and visible so that, again, the client can see, yeah, we're making progress here. So we think all of those things equate to about a 1 to 10% lift. Again, depending on how you operate your business, you could see something within that range in closing deals. Okay, and then you move on to actually giving the course. Student performance on the course is tracked and visible. Again, this is another perk of having everything together, is the client or the organization can see the progress of each student at any given time. They don't have to wait to get reports from you. They don't have to get a report in a spreadsheet that they can't understand. All they got to do is log in. It's all in the system, and they can track what's going on, and they can maybe make some course corrections during the length of the course to say, hey, like this person isn't performing as well. How can we help them out? And they can drive for better outcomes. Okay, that's going to give you a sales gain. Okay, and then what happens after the course? So, okay, usually, again, like you're running lots of courses, you're trying to figure out who to contact next, what to sell to them. It's usually a big mess, and no one really gets everything efficient. But in this system, because we know all the students and we know what they've taken and we know their grades, we can then suggest automatically courses that would be good for them. We know the goals of the buying organization. And there's two ways that this can happen now. One is you can see the recommendations, or your sales team can, and they can take that directly to the client and say, hey, look, these people took this class. This one's the next one in line. They got good grades. These were the outcomes, and this is the outcome we're going to see if they take this next course. Or just like you see on Amazon, the client sees it themselves. So in the system itself, it serves up the next recommended course. And so you may get people calling you and saying, hey, we want to run this next course. We just did this course. We had great outcomes. We see this is the next one in line, or we see this adjacent skill. It's in the system. So I thought I'd call and see if we can run that course. So again, like serving up recommendations to the client at the point of them looking at the reporting and feeling good that a course went well is a really good opportunity for another sell. And to move those students along a path that's going to get them better at their jobs, which makes everyone wins in that scenario.
I just want to hop in and say, just think about that for a second. Think about how you are delivering your sales process currently to sell courses. And maybe that's to an external client, or maybe you are a learning and development leader and you're selling a course internally to other students or to particular divisions. If you hop on the platform and you show exactly what is there, what's present, you show the curriculum, you show the quizzes, the mid-course eval, they've got a sense of the whole experience. It's visceral. Whereas if otherwise it's conceptual, we talk about it, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they all have to conceive of this in their minds. Now they can see it, they can touch it, like before they've ever purchased. They can see it, touch it, they see what's there, they see that curriculum. Now think how many of your competitors or other people are doing this, are having an experience like that before you've ever even gone in the classroom. Are they more likely to want to buy because they can see it and touch it and know how it's going to be? And then to have the analytics to be able to see, like, okay, what should be the next course? Why do we think that is? Who should take it, right? Isn't that valuable intel for your salespeople? Like, that's huge. I wish that we've had this all along. So although COVID has been crazy, in some ways it is, like necessity is the mother of all innovation, right? So I wish that we've had this. I'm glad that we have it now. So just think about what could that do in your process. And that Curtis has here, based on the percentages we just showed you, what could the possible gain be by using a tool like this in your sales process to get it sold and keep it sold and sell more courses?
Right. And again, these are all available. You can download the calculators and play with the assumptions and see for your own business what it could be, but pretty substantial gains is what we're seeing there. So the bottom line is what we've been talking about here. Yes, it's possible. We've gone through all the steps. We've thought through everything that needs to be done. We've seen this in our own business. We've seen it in a lot of our channel partners' business. A lot of the information you just saw came not only from our experience, but also from several other companies that have been in this business for decades. And so we calculated all that out. And yes, we feel like these percentages are actually very conservative to what you could gain if everything is integrated into one. And that's what we want to deliver. So we are solely focused on delivering a platform that gives a amazing virtual training experience. There's a lot of stuff out there like Zoom that's a virtual meeting tool, or there's LMSs, which are on-demand tools and there's Slack, which is a collaboration tool, but nothing really is focused on optimizing the entire virtual training experience, and that's what we're all about. So, Ryan, I'll let you take the story away.
So here's some of the members of our team, right? Like we mentioned at the beginning, we are also a training company. So these are some of the members of our team that help us deliver those trainings. Some are trainers, some are admin support. Not everybody on our team here is present, but we're here. We're supporting this, and that is because we understand the pain of trying to help people deliver training seamlessly and help keep clients engaged in a completely remote virtual environment, and ensuring that it's smooth and that people are seeing return on investment from their training initiatives. And as budgets are being scrutinized and we need to show improvements all over the company, right? Having a tool that helps do that is necessary. So this is our team, and that's helping us support this. Okay, we've worked with lots of companies delivering training, and as well as lots of channel partners that help us meet with clients. So we know how this goes. This is not our first rodeo, and I'm sure as you looked at the flowcharts, you have felt some similar pain, right? Because that's the process we all have to go through. So we built this for us, by someone in the business who understands this, for other companies like us, so that everybody can achieve higher efficiency and profitability with virtual training.
Right, so we're going to take you guys through what we see. We just went through the flow chart and went through the assumptions. This is a little bit of a deeper dive into each of those pieces. So what happens the old way versus what happens the new way, and what's the result that we think we can see. So you can see here we're kind of focusing in on this pre-class preparation part of the flow that we've talked about. And the insight here really is when you bring all the functions that you need to do pre-class work into one platform, you save a lot of time and you can make more sales, right? So like as we see, the old way is you have to coordinate all of this on your own. Technical calls to review the course description, class details are sent via email, calendars are sent via Outlook or Calendly or whatever it might be. Course materials are delivered again via email or maybe a file sharing tool like Dropbox or an FTP even in some cases. Class rosters are kind of floating around in email. A lot of stuff happens in email as you're seeing. And then pre-class work usually just doesn't even get done because no one does it, and there isn't a strong enough follow-up mechanism to make sure it gets done. So then you put everything in the same platform, and then your sales calls happen on the platform. All of your calendars are coordinated, and that pushes out to Gmail and Outlook and whatever people are using. Scheduling happens on the platform, maintaining documents and course content, all of that happens on the platform, so you have everything right there. Monitoring pre-class work, all of that happens on the platform, so those alerts to make sure people are doing their pre-class work happen. And then again, the reporting, because it's all happening together, is very easy. All right, and so then the old result is a lot of manual effort, it's all a mess, it's really intensive, it's error prone. The new result is that everything is streamlined and it's very easy to get it all done. And there's helps in the system to help send reminders, send alerts, all of these things to make sure it all gets done. Okay, the class delivery, which is arguably the most important and maybe the most complex. Again, we want to bring together all of these disparate pieces to save time and headache and create a better experience for the students and the teachers and the organization and the admins. Right. So a lot of this is review. We're not going to go down the whole thing again, but again, you'll see, you have to use tools like Zoom and WebEx. You have to use Slack and Teams and a knowledge repository and file storage tools, and quizzes and polls sometimes are in a completely different system, and video sharing happens over tools like Loom. Scheduling for one-on-one coaching sessions happens in another system or in Calendly. You have to use an LMS system to keep your histories and your certificates. And again, reporting typically happens in Excel or Google Sheets or something, or PowerPoint, because you have to take data from all these different pieces and compile it together, which takes an enormous amount of time. And then you have to try to make sense of it. On the other hand, the new way is all of those tools are in one platform. It's all there. It all happens right there. All the functionality is there, and the reporting just comes out of it because you have all the data right there that's being generated by all those activities. There's no friction at all. So again, that's the old result and the new result. Post-class activities. Okay, again, the insight here is we want to wrap everything together in one tool to avoid the headache and the time, the wasting time. So administering the end of course evals, delivering course certificates, reporting on student outcomes, following up with students to make sure they're learning the material, all of that is disparate in different places. We want to do all of that in one platform. And the results then are that, again, it's more efficient. It's easy to track everything. All your certificates are where they need to be. And of course, evaluations have a higher response rate. Reporting is automated, and it integrates with your CRM to help you do more sales. So, and then the sales process again, dovetailing into the sales process. Now, instead of trying to think of like, well, what do we sell next, or what do we do next, and let's schedule another Zoom, all those recommendations are in the system. They're visible to the client. They're visible to you. They're visible to your sales reps. And you also have this really important thing that happens called the network effect, which is the more a client uses a system like this, the more valuable that system becomes. The more classes they take from you, the more students they have on the system, the more data lives in that system, the more reporting they have in that system, the more recommendations they have in that system, the easier it is to just take another class in that system because they know how everything works. They know they're going to get good reporting. Everything is logged right there, and it's easy for them. And so it's a flywheel. Once you get a couple people taking a couple courses, then you become a really, really powerful, it becomes a powerful asset to then keep that flywheel going and generate more sales and more courses. And that's the result, as I just described. So again, the summary is the pre-class preparation, the class delivery, the post-class activities, and ongoing sales and marketing all get more efficient when everything lives in one platform. So there's a couple ways to do that, right? Two ways you could do that is you could hire a developer to take a bunch of the tools you're currently using, write a bunch of API calls, and try to bring all the data together using lots of different code and maybe Amazon Web Services and maybe Zapier, and you bring all the data together and try to build some sort of cohesive experience. That's going to take a lot of money, and it's going to be confusing, and APIs change, right? So maybe something changes on one of your integrations, and then you got to go pay more money to fix that. That's going to be a pain. The other way you could do it is to have someone build a platform that does all of this together. And that's also very expensive. Developers cost a lot of money, and building something with a good UI and a good backend and good security and good video conferencing without a lot of the hiccups, all of that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And that's what we've actually already done for you. So the easy way to do all of this is just to use TeachBeacon. So that's the system that we've built. It's easy to sign up for. You can get up and running in a day. It has all that functionality we've just described. All of it happens in the browser. Very easy to learn, and it's a great experience. And then this again just shows, it's another way of saying and showing, lots of different tooling, and how nothing really overlaps to get all of it done in one. And that's really what we have tried to do as we've thought about this flow, built the software. All of that then comes into TeachBeacon, so that all you have to do is deliver great virtual training. We make it as easy as possible to do that. So one last look back to who should be using TeachBeacon. Essentially, anyone who wants to teach something virtually. That's what the platform was built for, and we haven't seen any other tool out there that optimizes for that experience. So if you're a professional training organization that's used to deliver on-site training to Fortune 500 companies, now it's all virtual, this tool can help you. If you're a learning and development leader, an L&D leader in a large company, and you have lots of different people that you're running through trainings, and you need a way to virtualize that and keep track of that and collaborate and do all those things, TeachBeacon can help you. Associations, a lot of time associations have to do continuing education credits and track that and make sure it's done in a robust way so that it gets accreditation. Again, TeachBeacon can do that. Management consulting and training firms, TeachBeacon can help those people. Individual coaches or teachers or educators, maybe you have an audience that you want to reach that you're trying to deliver training to. TeachBeacon is very easy to sign up for, and you can instantly be delivering that virtual training with on-demand stuff on the side and the collaboration and everything else. Workforce development boards, trying to upskill people now that we're in COVID. People need new skills, they need jobs. A lot of people are hurting right now. So this is a tool that can help achieve that. Elementary, middle, high schools, higher education. Again, if you're trying to virtualize, TeachBeacon has all the tools to help you do that. Ryan, I'll let you go through the benefits here.
So I think we've hit a lot of these benefits. You're probably wondering, can I see the platform? What does this thing actually look like? Well, how about we show that to you? How about we show you the platform? Because by now, if you've watched us for this long, you understand like we have coded this up. So let's take you through this, right? So here you've got a screenshot of the video interface. Because we're here in a video with you, then we don't want to have the inception effect of like multiple cameras within cameras. But you can see there on the left-hand side, you can see the logged in users. You've got notes, you've got chat. There's the whiteboard functionality and notations on the right-hand side. You'll see there's a button kind of towards the top right with a little blue book icon. That allows you to see all of your curriculum, quizzes, polls, all of that stuff is right there. You can share your screen, you can share a YouTube video, it's all right here. Okay, so this is what the video platform looks like. You can run recordings there at the top, and as more students log in, if they've got their cameras turned on, you can see everyone in thumbnail view, or you can make it bigger so you can see everybody. Okay, we mentioned coordinating calendars, right? Super easy. What's the session that we're gonna run? What's the class? Choose it, set it up, send out your reminders, really simple. Okay, how about maintaining documents and course content, right? I want to see my course outline. I want to see the data sets or the labs. I want to see the curriculum manual and the step-by-step. Okay, it's all there. And then here on the right-hand side, you can see this is the particular course. There's a thumbnail image, how many lessons, how many topics, quizzes are all involved with that. Once you complete all of those, it tracks your progress. It automatically generates a course certificate with your branding and the student's name on it. Okay, we can monitor pre-class work like we mentioned, right? So again, there I mentioned the little thumbnail icon with the blue button. When you click it, this is what it looks like. Here's all of your stuff. You've got videos, practice quizzes. Here's a pre-class survey, right? You can track it and then control who's got access to what other content. Can be dripped out on demand or whatever. You can set up a private chat and talk to somebody and bring them up to speed. So that's all of this piece. Okay, then it's got a whole variety of built-in analytics. So if we want to see who has taken the pre-class work to ensure that they're ready for maybe a more advanced class, as an example here, we can see like, hey, how many have completed the survey? Okay, this person has not. How many people have watched the introduction video and done the quiz? Like, okay, most people have done the survey, not everyone did the intro video, someone started but didn't finish. These two people have not started yet. So now you know who to follow up with. And we can send automated alerts and reminders to those people. Okay. We've also got, course authoring, and it would be really like drag and drop. It's easy to upload all your materials in one shot. So again, like smooth, frictionless process. Okay. So then we've got other features here. I mentioned recording, annotations there in the top right. You can see make full screen. We can choose your settings, which control some of the alerts. There on the left-hand side, you can set your status. You can share your screen. You can mute everybody or unmute people. You can lock viewers. You can create breakout rooms. We can have closed captioning, which auto-generates. Down in the bottom, you can start a poll. You can share an external video. So a lot of things here that are possible in a lot of other tools, but you need a lot of tools to get this done, right? And so here they all are. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about breakout rooms. This is great for driving engagement with the course. We can break everyone up into a smaller group. They can collaborate on a project together or have a discussion, come back together. So you can set the number of rooms, you can set the duration, you can randomly assign people, or you can manually assign people, or you can allow them to choose which room they want to join. And then that way you can facilitate discussion, collaboration. Okay, so that's a really smooth interface. Okay, then if on your recordings, it gives you on the left-hand side here, you'll see this like slide by slide kind of interaction. So it takes thumbnail snapshots through your recording. So then you can jump to kind of wherever you need to, and without having to sit through the whole recording. So maybe there's just one fuzzy that you wanted to review from the training. You could get the recording. You could kind of scroll through real quickly and be like, oh yeah, it was about here. And then you could watch just that section. So it's a smooth playback on your meeting. Okay. We mentioned collaboration tools like Slack or Teams, right? So here you can mention people or ping the whole group. You can upload stuff, and then this lives on beyond the class, right? So beyond just like the time that everyone is there on recording, there's a discussion going on. It's all here in the platform with the associated material. Okay, then we talked about a knowledge repository and document sharing. Okay, so it could be like, hey, does anybody want to upload their work at the end of the course? You know, in your final lab, upload your work and let's share and discuss it as a group. Or you want to post a comment or a question and encourage a discussion, like students log in, post on this and you know, contribute to someone else's discussion. Okay, they do this a lot, obviously, in education courses and other things. So that is here a part of the interface as well. You can see uploading, creating folders, all of that. You can invite people to the discussion. Okay, again, you know, quizzes and surveys are built right in. So if you want to do like a mid-course evaluation, hey, how's it going? We can see. If you want to run a quiz, you can do that, and it looks just like this, right? You can upload your quiz question, you can have an image, choose the right answer, it automatically scores it for you. On the left-hand side, you can see where you're at. So we're through the pre-class stuff, we're in the live session. We're now taking the session 1 practice questions quiz. Okay, so it kind of tracks you through the course just like a learning management system would. Okay, here's your mid-course evals or end-of-course evals, like so you can see, are we on track? Do we need to improve things? Is the pacing right? All this, and so you can make mid-flight adjustments and ensure that the final deliverable is great. Okay. We'll have video sharing like Loom, where you can record a quick video with yourself, your face, or screen sharing. Scheduling tools like we've mentioned. Okay, and then all kinds of analytics. So you could see, for example, students, how do they do on the various quizzes? Who's below a certain threshold? Color those. Okay, what was their engagement in the course? So how many minutes were they talking? For example, Raul here didn't talk a lot. That could be okay, but it could be like, hey, was there anything that you're confused by? Or we can correlate that with his quiz scores. With other questions, maybe he had some stuff come up and he wasn't really paying attention. He didn't get a lot of value out of the course. Well, now we know. Now we've got visibility into that. We can also see like where are people stumbling? What are the questions that are they most tripped up by that maybe we need to review in more detail to ensure that they've got mastery on. Okay, there's lots of other analytics here. We can see for the instructor, you know, like a word cloud on course feedback, upcoming courses, courses taught to date, when did they run, what were their scores, and, you know, like 9 out of 10 stars, you know, so we can see those kinds of things. We've also got some other kind of internal analytics, like what are our top 10 courses for the current month or the current quarter or year to date. We can see which courses are growing. So it may be that we've got a course that is not in our top 10, but it's growing rapidly, it's gaining ground. So we may want to invest more like marketing effort behind that, or run more of a promotional webinar about this, or like find out why are students taking this. And then we can use that survey information and share with other people and say, hey, a lot of your colleagues have learned this, they found it really helpful, have you considered this, right? And then of course our course evaluations and scoring there. So you've got all this reporting built in to help you make decisions and drive a great learner experience and a training initiative that really helps people, implement the skills taught. Okay, so again, we can see course evaluations and what that looks like, and we can see individual summary feedback and what they're looking for. Okay, we mentioned some of this. How did we do on who's taking the mid-course eval? What were the scores coming in? How about our end-of-course eval? What were the scores? Is there anyone who didn't do it that maybe we want to follow up? It can auto-generate an email and just be like, please remember, Horatio, to finish your end-of-course eval. That sort of thing, and then we've got a true picture of the learning environment. All right, student follow-ups like we talked about, we can schedule that out. Hey, like in 3 months, have a little tickler, go out to the students and say, hey, 3 months ago, you took this course. How did you do? We've got a quick refresher for you on a few key topics that relate to your work. And then you can track, did they do those? And then, hey, 2 days later, could you fill out these quiz questions? We can see who's completed, how's that going, right? So all of these analytics are built into the platform. It doesn't require an outside analyst or anything like that. Okay, we've talked about, hey, can you run a promotional webinar from the platform? Yeah, it looks just like this. Everybody logs in, screen share, show them a new course. There you go. Okay, and then we've also talked about class recommendations based on machine learning. So, okay, for the client, what course has been taken? What do we recommend as the next step for them? What's the recommendation score? Okay, so this is based on all of the data that we showed you. It can figure this out and serve it up and say, we recommend these students would be a great fit for the next course. Okay, you've got an admin portal, okay, as well. Like, okay, what are our courses running this month? Who's the client? How, when are they running? How much are each of those courses worth based on, any variety of factors, number of students, pricing, instructor, other costs, all of that can be built in. And then you can see this, right? And so we've kind of showed our top 10 courses, so you kind of know what's trending, what's popular. Your growth, like we talked about, again, with the little sparkline trends, so you can see how things are doing. Who's our top 10 instructors? So this is helpful to kind of know, like, who is knocking it out of the park? Who do students really like learning from? Let's make sure that we have them teach more often, as much as possible. Okay, and that's filterable by topic. Maybe this is more like soft skills, like leadership, or data science skills, or it's programming skills, or whatever, right? So this could be filterable, and you can see who are our top instructors. Okay, instructor analytics, like we mentioned before, the word cloud, analyzing this gives them actionable feedback and gives you actionable feedback to help you know like who to schedule and where could they improve and all of that. Okay, also we integrate with other CRM systems like Salesforce so that you can push data or pull data in and you can see like, well, how many interactions have we had with this client? When did we last talk to them? What would be the best next step? So all of that can be done using the TeachBeacon platform. Okay, like we mentioned, it's 100% browser-based. So everything you see, that's all done within the browser. You don't have to download an app, which means you don't have to be on a company's approved list of like, well, we've got Zoom and Teams, but we don't have Slack, and all of this stuff. It's all in the browser. All they have to do is log in. So so that's simple, right? It's a simple process to getting training delivered. So we would love to engage with you and work with you, and we want to ensure that this is a great experience for you. So we're taking beta customers, and then pretty soon we're moving into full customers. So you'll see the button there on our site if you want to hit it. We would love to have a conversation with you. And when you sign up, here is what you will get. You will get our teaching-specific virtual meeting tools branded to you, to your organization, all integrated into the platform. You get a fully featured learning management system integrated into the platform, like we've shown you. You got your comprehensive analytics and portals, like we've shown you. Collaboration tools, scheduling and calendaring, one-on-one coaching, sales tools, like with machine learning, like we talked about. On-demand training on how to use the platform. A training course for teachers on how to upload courseware and use the authoring experience. And also as a bonus, we have no setup fee for beta users and preferential pricing long-term for beta users and dedicated support. And you may be wondering, okay, what is all of this going to cost me? And the answer is, it's a low active user-based pricing. So if you run no training in a given month, you pay nothing, $0. If you have 10 students logged in, then there's just a price for those 10 students. Now, if those 10 students log in multiple times in the month, you're still only paying for them once. Now, if you have 10,000 students, well, it's a tier-based pricing, and so then the price starts to drop as you add more and more people onto the platform. And again, it's each unique user, you only get charged for them once. So our pricing should be really simple and designed for your organization. If that doesn't work, we're happy to work with you on something that does work for your organization.
So like Ryan said here, you can just go to our site, teachbeacon.com. There's a button there that says sign up to be a beta user, and go fill out the little form there. And then we can jump on the phone and chat about your needs and see how TeachBeacon can help you. And we'd love to chat with you and bring you onto the platform and get your feedback on it. So now, just to end off, we have talked to several people already, and lots of questions have come up about certain things. So we're just going to run through a bunch of questions and answers. If you guys have the same questions some other people have had, they may be answered here as we run through this, right? So number one, the first question is the platform secure, right? Everybody wants to know that, especially with all this stuff going on with Zoom and that whole thing. Yes, the platform is very, very secure. So we've used all modern standards. It's end-to-end encrypted. And anyone on the platform, if they are accessing anything on the platform, they have to have a username and a password. So there's no random people getting into your meetings and none of that. Everyone is a known entity, and you have permission-based rules inside the system to say who gets to see what and who gets to go to what sessions. So happy to talk more about the security on the platform, but it is end-to-end encrypted, and we designed the whole thing from the ground up to be very secure. Okay, is there single sign-on? Yes, because everything that you've seen requires one sign-on, because everything is in one tool. There's no jumping around to different tools. It's all in the browser. It's all in one tool. You get access to all of it with one login. Can you manage your video quality? The answer is yes. But we also have an automated way to sort of govern the video quality to ensure that there isn't lag and to ensure that it's a good experience for everyone. So it's going to detect your internet speed, and it's going to detect how fast that your computer's running. And it's going to say, okay, this is the video quality that you should have to be able to see a smooth video, but also give you as high quality as we can, given your internet connection. Even with that, you can have the ability to go in and move your quality down or up as you desire. Okay, do we have a RESTful API? Yes, we do. Documentation is in the works, but that's an API that will be able to be connected to by whatever you want. So data can come in, data can come out. Can you integrate with other LMS systems? Yes, we are SCORM compliant 100%. So if you have a current LMS systems, or maybe a few LMS systems, or your clients have LMS systems, data can flow very easily in between those two entities. You can import courses, you can export courses. All of that is all compliant with SCORM. Can you integrate with CRM systems? Like Ryan already said, yes, Salesforce is one. If there are other CRM systems, because we're in beta, that you would like us to connect to, we can certainly look at that. And as long as there's a well-documented API, no problems, right? If some of these really older systems that maybe don't have APIs, that may be more challenging, but most modern day systems have a good documented API, shouldn't be an issue. Okay, can you do custom backgrounds during training? We don't have that feature. We talked about it. There's a lot of features that are important for virtual training. That one is less so in our minds. And it also, It also slows down the bandwidth. So it hogs bandwidth and could create a slower experience for certain people. So we just don't have that on our platform. No custom, you can't be on the beach, I guess, and be at a virtual training unless you actually are on the beach, but you can't fake it. Okay, do you have a centralized streaming system? Yeah, so like you saw in the features, you can stream YouTube videos, Vimeo videos, all of those things can be streamed right there on the platform. Not a problem. Can I use redemption and registration codes to sell courses? Yes, you can. You can do coupon codes, you can do registration codes, you can do any permutation of that with certain number of codes that go out and a deadline on when the code expires. All of that is available if you want to sell courses using those types of codes. Is TeachSpeaking interoperable with other learning tools? Yeah, so Adobe Connect is a good example. Yes, we can operate with Adobe Connect. Can you get content from other providers? Yes, like we said, SCORM compliant, we can bring in content from other LMS systems. Can you have widgets from other tools? Usually yes, but we'd have to look at each individual case, obviously, to just ensure, but like from Microsoft Teams, for example, we can bring those types of things in and so forth. Okay, how does content provisioning work? Okay, so on our system, again, everything is documented and tracked. So there is a content audit trail. Whoever changes a quiz or uploads a video or creates a course, all of that is auditable. So you can say who is doing all of those things, when they did those things, and you can make sure that everything is how it needs to be. And if something maybe goes wrong or a teacher uploads something that's incorrect, you can track that all the way back and see what happened. Not a problem. Can content be reused? Yes. So you can have templates of courses. So maybe you customize a little bit of your courses. You can pull from the template, do some customizations, and you're ready to go. Okay. Is content interaction available? Yes. So like Ryan showed us, there's an interactive whiteboard. You can draw on that whiteboard. You can upload documents. You can upload presentations. You can circle things. Students can circle things. You can work out math problems. You can do whatever you need to on that whiteboard against documents or presentations. Okay, can teachers deliver the content in modalities they are most comfortable with? Yes. So again, trainers can upload presentations, documents, they can use a whiteboard, they can share their screen, they can share anything they want to on the screen, they can share YouTube videos or Vimeo videos, all of those things are right there in the platform. Okay, how is the onboarding process for trainers? Okay, there's a page where a trainer, if you want to bring on a new trainer, they can go to the page, they fill out the information, and they're onboarded onto the system. Or administrators of the site can also add teachers or users. Same thing for content, trainers or site admins can upload things, they can import things from LMS systems, they can create courses, they can upload content, all of those things, they can edit it right there on the platform, manage it, it's all there. Clients, for the Enterprise Edition, you can have this live on your own domain. Or you can get a subdomain on TeachBeacon if you just want to sign up on the platform and have a subdomain.teachbeacon.com. That's a really quick and easy automated process, and you're off to the races. You can claim your subdomain, and you can start selling courses or start delivering training. Okay, does TeachBeacon use Rev RTC? Yes, we do. It's an easy one. How can we collect payments from clients on TeachBeacon? So we are a Stripe platform. We use Stripe to manage all payments like a ton of organizations do today. That's pretty much the de facto way to do it. So any capability Stripe has, we can also do. So we can take payments international. We can exchange between currencies. We can do invoicing. We can do purchase orders. Anything Stripe can do, we can do on our platform. How do breakout rooms work? So students break out into several smaller breakout sessions. You can have a time limit, so maybe you want it to happen for 10 minutes, and 3 students are in a room over here, 3 students in a room over here. After the 10 minutes is done, everyone is brought back to the main room together, and then you can keep going with your course. The current limit for breakout rooms is 8, although that can be raised if we need to do that. Okay, how many people can be in a virtual training session? Like Ryan touched on, there is no limit to how many people can be in a session. We charge based on user, and that pricing gets smaller and smaller the more users you have. So if you need to do a webinar with 10,000 people, that's not a problem. And in fact, if you look at some of Zoom's pricing, once you get pretty big webinars, they start to charge quite a bit of money for that, and the per user pricing on our platform would be much lower. And you don't have to pay for it in advance. Again, it's flexible pricing. However many people are in the session during the month, then that's what you get charged for. So you're never getting charged for something you're not using. Okay, can you run a webinar on the platform? Like we just said, yes, you can. So you can run a webinar. As many people that need to join can join. They create a login and a password, and there they are on the webinar, and you can upsell them on your courses, or you can charge for the webinar if you want. You can do any of those things. Okay, can you create linear sessions where live sessions are meshed into the course? So blended learning is what we're talking about here, where maybe you have a course that's going to run over a period of a month or two. And every Monday you want to do a live session, and then for the rest of the week you have on-demand materials you want people to do, and then you want to meet again with a live session and then more on-demand materials. You can schedule all that in advance, and again that all syncs to people's calendars. And you get a really nice virtual blended on-demand experience. Okay, can this platform be used for internal meetings? Yes, it can. So anyone with a username and a password that you want to have on your platform can meet not only for a training, but that same environment can be used for meetings. And in fact, meetings are better because you can share documents, you can share presentations, you can interact with those presentations. All that is right there in the platform. So if you want to use it for meetings, certainly use it for meetings. Can it be used for external meetings? So maybe I am trying to meet with a bunch of people that are not, maybe, right? So if those entities have a username and a password, you can meet with whoever has a username and a password. Anyone that you want to have sign up there, which is a very easy process, you can do that. But what you can't do is just have someone hit a link that does not have a username and a password and come into the meeting, much like a Zoom would do. We don't do that because one, it's not as good for security, and two, we are built to be a virtual training platform, and when you're training, you want to know everyone that's in the training and be able to track what they're doing and help them learn better. So everyone has to have a username and a password. Is Teachping and SCORM compliant? Yes, it is. How long does it take to learn how to use the platform with all these, virtual training and the one-on-one coaching, the collaboration and comprehensive analytics? It's very easy to use because it's all in one. It's all browser-based. The UI has been designed to be very intuitive and very easy. And we have a set of videos that run through how everything works. You can be up and running in a day. You can onboard your teachers, and they can be up and running very, very fast. If they've already used Zoom or WebEx or any of these tools for teaching virtually in the past, the virtual teaching environment will be very familiar and probably have a few more features that they'll be happy to have. So it's easy to learn. Okay, can you add videos and content for people to consume whenever they want? Yes, you can, right? So the LMS function, you can upload anything you want, videos, documents, quizzes, all of that lives in the LMS on demand section, which you can reach on the platform. You can reach from the live session, and you can track who's taking those and what their grades are and all of that. All of that is available. Can you sell courses on the platform? Yes, you can. You can sell on-demand courses, you can sell virtual courses, you can sell blended courses, you can sell webinars. All of that is right there. And again, you can take payments, and we take payments through Stripe. We never see your financial information. We just pass that money right on to you. And we don't take a fee for that. So if you sell courses on our platform, you get 100% of the money. We charge per user using the platform. We don't charge any percentage on whatever you sell your courses for. All of that money goes to you. Okay, are there any disadvantages of being totally browser-based instead of app-based? The answer is yes, there are a few, but they are, we feel, vastly outweighed by the benefits, right? So the few things that you can't do because we're browser-based are, for example, there's a couple features that you need access to a computer's OS to be able to build or have function. For example, Zoom has a feature where it'll outline in red any screen that you're sharing. We can't do that because we're browser-based and we don't have access to that functionality on your machine. So there's little things like that we can't do, but all of the base functionality you need, as you've seen, for virtual training to make it really, really be done well, all of it can be done within the browser. And that makes it easier for everyone. It makes it easier to learn. It makes it easier for people to sign up. They don't have to download anything. You don't have to worry about permissioning on the computer. So we feel being browser-based is way better than having to go through an app. There's no updates that you have to worry about. It's all browser-based. All right, so can TeachBeacon make my life easier if I'm currently sending out a lot of materials over email to prepare students for classes? We've heard that. Yes, it can. As we've seen, all the material lives right there in the course. It's all in a template. It's all managed. You just upload it there once. Everyone has access to all the materials. Can we build marketing funnels using TeachBeacon? Yes, you can. So you could, again, have someone come into a free webinar. And then from that webinar, you upsell them into a virtual or on-demand or blended course. Or maybe they hit the webinar and they don't sign up on the webinar. Well, you have their information. You know they came. You know how much of the webinar they watched. You can then send them follow-up emails and try to bring them back in. So yes, you can build. And then maybe someone takes a lower tiered course that is maybe a lower cost offering for you. And after that course, then you can upsell them on a much bigger course. All of those things, again, are very cohesive, and you can do that in the platform. Okay, does TeachBeacon use role-based permissioning? Yes, it does. So like we said before, it's a secure platform, and you can give certain users different access to different information. Students only have access to the courses that they're signed up for and the materials in those courses. Teachers have access to any courses that they're teaching and the ability to upload courses if you want to give them that ability. Administrators have access to all of their course materials and all of their teachers and all of their students. Clients have access to just the courses that they are buying from you and the analytics and the materials from those courses. So we built in the permissioning so that it would be useful and easy for each of those stakeholders. Do you have custom backgrounds? We already covered that one. Can you white label TeachBeacon? Yeah, so like Ryan touched on, it's completely branded to you. Your logo appears there in the virtual training experience and in the LMS and in the collaboration portion. It's all cohesive, so your logo appears there. If you're an enterprise client and you want this set up on your own domain, of course, then you're 100% white labeled. You don't even hit the teachbeacon.com domain, and you're off to the races. Can I and how can I get government aid to pay for this platform or other virtual training activities? So because COVID hit, something called the CARES Act passed through Congress, which opens up a lot of federal money to assist in a lot of different things, but virtual training is one of those things. Now, this will depend on where you live, what municipality you're in, what state you're in. There's different ways different states and different municipalities are using this money, how they're distributing it, and those kinds of things. So we do have some resources available if you'd like to read more about this and see if you qualify for some federal help, not only for maybe this platform, but for any other virtual training or COVID-related things that you're doing. But we have some resources for you. Again, if you want to apply to be a beta customer or reach out to us, we can send you those resources. Here's a look at some of them, but we'll send you those links and you can do some additional reading and see if you qualify. So once again, thanks for sticking with us here for this entire presentation. Go to teachbeacon.com, fill out the form there, just hit apply to be a beta user. There's a quick 6-question form there, and we'll be in contact with you, and we can show you a demo of the actual platform.
Thanks to your success. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody.